The sequel to God of War was announced this Tuesday at PlayStation's State of Play, and with that came the most backlash I've ever seen for a game in a while. Even the creator of the game of God of War was saying the game sucks and doesn't even look appealing. We even had Domino's, the pizza company, calling out the studio on social media, on Twitter, for replacing Kratos with his wife, and the people were crashing out about the fact that the new main character is no longer a male lead, it is now a female lead. So let's go back to the beginning to help clear all the confusion with why fans and people in the games industry are so against this change, to help set the record straight on why people are so mad about this. Today we have a video by Legendary Drops, as he has all the information for us in a nice little video for us, and I can give my take on all the situation with why fans are so mad about this change. So let's check it out. Go check out all of his information in the description down below. Let's check it out.
I've been getting called everything under the sun lately. I think I'm probably
everyone has, man.
just going to take a break from Twitter because, well, my opinions come out far better in a YouTube video anyway.
That's how it is.
How many times have you guys looked at a game and said, who is this being made for?
Exactly the point, man. Look how many games have come out, and you just ask yourself, who is this game made for? And that's why people, I think, are so upset with God of War.
How many times have you guys thought that exact same thing about a long-running franchise or a series that you've supported for years? One of my favorite franchises, bro. Just like you just question what they're doing at every step of the way, and it just happens more and more and more. And if you look in the environment in today's games industry, you can see that happening more and more and more. Most wildest trends that I've seen in the games industry is the emergence of these games that seem to have just no target audience whatsoever.
Exactly. They don't know who they're making the game for, and then when their game flops, they blame it on the most absurd thing possible, and they get called out for that, and then people just never end up playing any of their games ever again. That's just how it goes now.
Or whether it's the themes, whether it's the genre, whether it's the characters, doesn't really matter. You can just instantly look at it and know nobody is going to show up for this.
Exactly.
No, they're probably not even going to hear about it. Along with that, we have long-running franchises that have been pivoting so hard. These guys.
I don't understand. If something is broken, then fix it. If something is not broken, why are you trying to change it? It's like a set path. It's literally printing you money. So why are you going to change it in any sort of way? It makes no sense. If the formula's not broken, and don't fix it, man. Just keep going. Just keep pushing ahead. Keep making the same shit. People are liking it. That's why people are so upset with COD right now, because people are upset because they're not getting what they want. They're doing all these random collabs. They're not, listening to the community at all. And then look what happened. Battlefield finally overtook them in sales last year and became the best multiplayer game of the year. And Battlefield has lost the pace. So it's like, what are these studios actually doing? We don't know. It makes no sense.
Snapping their own ankles. They have been changing their games, changing their audiences, changing just about everything they can, trying to broaden their audience as much as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to broaden their audiences for people that don't actually want to play their game. And then when they broaden the audience, say it's mostly males that play the game, to try to get more females to play it, and then the females don't play because they don't like that type of game. And then guess what? Then no one plays it. And then you're left with the $100 million or however much money it costs you to make the game in the first place. And then you're in that amount of money that you're just out of because the game is just a flop.
Just losing all those people just the same.
Yep.
Recently, we just saw PlayStation announce God of War Laufey, the spin-off title starting Faye instead of Kratos.
Yep.
And people are mad.
Dude, I've never seen it this bad. Off the rip for such a big franchise. There's the small franchises that come up, or the franchises that have been slightly changing stuff to like this. I had never seen this much so quickly for it. Holy hell.
Gamers going at each other's throats like this in a long time. It's like blood sport.
It's like the Xbox versus PlayStation back in the days, the console wars, bro. And it still happens nowadays, but not to an extreme. This is the next big thing I feel like that has happened with people on the internet.
Kind of enjoying
it's this game.
It, but much of it has been this intentional, dishonest reframing and gaslighting.
Oh my God, it's been crazy.
Issue over gender rather than anything else. People actually have a problem with female protagonists in video games. No, this is a matter of
dude, it is not about that it's a female lead, guys. People just don't understand.
Taste. This is a matter of expectations. It's a matter of people feeling like they're being pushed out. So today I want to talk about that.
Yep,
I want to talk about all the drama. I want to
give my take as well.
God of War Laufey.
I want to hear what I have to say as well.
To it as well as mine. I want to talk about a game that lived, died, and was buried before you even knew about it, and how so often people want you to just ignore the elephant in the room, or they call you a misogynist.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
It's never their fault. It's your fault for having the right opinion or the wrong, or having opinion at all. It's always your fault.
Insults don't work here. So I sat down to watch the PlayStation State of Play, and honestly, I walked away pretty happy. I really
same. I thought it was a great showing. I think Wolverine, I think that's going to be crazy good. And then I thought everything else they showed, they had their target audience. And then God of War, I'm going to be honest, it didn't look bad. I didn't think it was, crazy. Like, it blew me out of the water. Like, holy, I got to go play that now. But I mean, everything looked okay. I mean, right?
I feel like Sony is finally getting back to what their audience actually expects from
them.
Outside of the marathon season that they had shown.
Oh, dude, that's a whole nother story. If you want to go watch my other video on Bungie, that's a whole other thing, dude. Every single video game showcase this week has been parading for Destiny 3 and hoping that Marathon fails. That's a whole nother story, bro. That is crazy.
And the entire showcase is mostly just high quality single player games and cinematic experiences, the kind of things that actually feel like they're made for the PlayStation audience.
Exactly.
Stuntman coming back after nearly 2 decades of being gone was a huge surprise, especially seeing that it's the Space Marine 2 devs behind it. Rayman Legends was another one. Really nice.
I call that as well.
Ubisoft finally doing something with that.
Yeah, dude, Ubisoft, I don't know what they're doing over there. They're finally turning something around because I don't know. They finally realized that maybe making an Assassin's Creed game that is an absolute dog shit maybe isn't the best play.
Again, Control Resonant and Onimusha both look good.
Dude, the games look crazy, dude.
For the full release of No Rest for the
Even Phantom Blade, yeah, dude, I'm in on that.
And Phantom Blade Zero is probably my most anticipated.
Oh yeah, baby, that thing looks crazy.
Eastern developers rarely let me down. Then there was Wolverine. Now, I am not the biggest Marvel or comic book fan, but
I would say I am probably really dedicated. I watch pretty much every Marvel show and TV show, so I'm going to probably play this eventually. Hopefully it comes to PC and I'll play it because I don't like playing it on console really. But I mean, it looks great for what it is.
Huge
I wish it was more open world, but
I even like a lot of the shittier movies that most people don't like, and I also
I won't watch the shitty movies nowadays. It's like once I watch an episode and I can tell what it's going to be. I just turn it off.
Nearly every single game that has been tied to this franchise. The trailer for me looks sick. Apparently, it was a little bit too gory for Kotaku, but for me, it was right on the money. The combat looked good, and I am just absolutely the target audience here. Jean Grey looked a little bit off. I'm definitely
I will say that too. Yeah,
and there's really no telling which way the story is going to probably end up going. But I mean, X-Men is my millennial kryptonite. I'm going to be playing this game either way.
Yep.
And then PlayStation revealed God of War Laufey, a spin-off title.
Yeah, I expected them to release the next God of War in the showcase as well. So I was like, not like, oh my god, it's God of War. It's like, oh, okay, let's see what this is about.
With Kratos' wife Faye set in some kind of fever dream realm for the dead gods.
Yep.
Visually, I think the game looks really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. If you see anyone bashing the game about the graphics, they're actually just stupid. The game looks great. It's literally basically the next iteration of a God of War game. It literally looks the exact same in terms of like how it should be. It literally looks like a God of War game. It feels like a God of War game. It just has a different character as the lead.
Combat is going to be a huge step up.
And I think
2018.
you didn't have the jump mechanic before. I think in God of War, if I'm not mistaken. So they have that back now.
Kratos gave Faye all of his air combos instead of a wedding ring when they got married. But as I watched, I just felt nothing. The tone just felt so painfully millennial.
I will say the writing seemed very millennial and very like I don't know what the best word. It just seemed like it was targeted for a specific audience that wasn't the original audience of God of War. Most people just want like a story where they can feel something. I feel like this is just targeted in a way to people to broaden an audience, and then that's what most people are upset about with the writing is the fact that you have all this like mumble jumble millennial bullshit in there, and then people just are not buying it.
There's a talking cube named Frank and a sword.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. The talking cube in the sword is probably my biggest gripe. Screw the character being a female. I feel like the way they went about it, like you take already a big risk changing the main character out for his wife, and then on top of that, you make it millennial enough so you have like a Marvel side character like Frank the Cube, like being like the humor likeness of the witty jokes. And I was watching Lyric. Dude, he's like the most like respectable guy. He just plays games, bro. He doesn't really give a fuck about what all this drama is. He said it the best is the Cube is like a side character in a Marvel game. Will have the witty jokes, and then you'll be down, like you'll be out of a boss fight, and then the Cube will come in and save you in like in the last boss fight or whatever. That's what it feels like. It just feels like it's like you're already doubling down on like this character being like the new main protagonist, and then you have this weird ass Cube that doesn't look like it fits in the genre whatsoever. I would rather much have it as like an actual person, like with the sword, and then you have the ribbons talking, and it's like the sword as well. It just seems very, very like coded towards a specific audience. If you get what I'm saying, it doesn't feel like a God of War like style of writing, in my opinion.
Named Rue, and there's this constant ironic dialogue and the same pink and purple aesthetic that we have seen in countless generic games over the past couple of years. And I just sat there thinking, who is this for?
Exactly.
And with Faye as the main character, even in a spinoff, guys, I'm just going to say it. I play God of War for Kratos. I have played these.
I think that's what most people are mad about too. They play the game for that main character. And if the main character is there, they're going to have pushback. That's just inevitable. But I think there's a lot of backlash that is undeserved just because they think, oh, people are misogynist because it's a female. Dude, no, man. People just want to play Kratos. That's how it is.
Games for 20 years because of the unbridled masculine energy, the visceral rage.
That's the same thing with Halo, man. They wanted Master Chief, and then they got some like pride, like all that shit happened, and then they went open world, and then they bombed, and it's like, dude, people just want to play the game for what the game is and what it was known for. Not all this bullshit, not trying to broaden an audience for some whatever reason. It's like, just make the game, and people will buy your game that have been buying it since this whatever series or whatever game that you created before. That's how it usually goes.
The brutal combat, the stoicism, and then later on, the way that they handled loss, fatherhood, and grappling with your past from a male perspective. It felt like this series grew up with me. So playing a quirked up version of that same universe as Faye just doesn't really do it for me. And yes, I can see.
And that's what a lot of people are saying as well. They don't care that the female is a female lead. It's like the story is not going to hit the same. It's not going to resonate with them because let's be honest, most gamers are males. Most people that are playing the series are males. That's just how it goes. It's just the facts. Like, as majority of the game industry nowadays, it's definitely opened up a lot more to more people like that are female that play the games. But it's like it's generally a male-dominated franchise and industry right now. That's just how it is. So people just criticizing it, it's just like, guys, like, just open your eyes and look at the facts. It's just how it is.
Narrative value. Faye's death in God of War 2018 left a lot of questions, but I'd always assumed that those questions, well, Kratos, he would just uncover them himself.
Yeah, so, I don't understand why you would have to do it from a different perspective to tell the story, but I mean, I understand what they're trying to go for. They're trying to do it see it from a different perspective. But look at the scope of the industry right now. If you change anything about a beloved franchise, you're going to have backlash, especially if you're changing the lead like most of these games are nowadays that are big or have a male protagonist into a female. You just are expecting it to go wrong. That's just how it is nowadays. People are just tired of it.
When I see a game like this, I have to ask, is this expanding God of War or is it replacing it with the thing that people came for? And clearly, I'm not the only one asking that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's been talking about this, and man, has it been divisive. The trailer ended up with 340,000 likes.
God damn. Okay, I'm going to look that up right now quickly. So sorry. I'm like, God of War Laufey YouTube. I just want to look it up, and I want to see how many dislikes, because that is crazy. 180,000. This is the 20-minute version of it. So let's see what it's at right now, and we can do a comparison from when this was. Oh my God. It is sitting at 387,000 likes to 203,000 dislikes. So almost, what is that? 23,000 more dislikes now, and only 56,000 more actual likes, which is honestly insane for a God of War game.
179,000 dislikes, and some people are just really excited to learn more about Faye and her relationship with Kratos and some of the things that went left unsaid. They are also picking apart some of the cool references, like how Faye's vision of Kratos is helping her up in the very beginning of the game, and that lines up perfectly with the first game when he's fighting Thor. Other people were just immediately put off by the dialogue, the talking cube, and
that's what dude. I'm telling you, that is my biggest critique, is the stupid cube, the sword bullshit, and then the writing dialogue. It just seems not like a God of War game to me. It does not seem, interesting enough. Like, I think the character designs and everything just looks great, but just everything just seems off with the writing. It doesn't sit well.
Sword and putting a woman in the center of a 20-year-old franchise that's been built around Kratos. Some people memed on that contradiction, putting Faye in the kitchen. Other people...
I've seen some of these, and these... you can say what it was. It was actually hilarious. Dude, AI and all this shit is just so good now. Just, just a meme on shit. But it is it's, at the end of the day, people are going to have their own opinion. So, I mean, you're expected to see this with any franchise that does these major changes, to be honest.
Or just simply feeling like their expectations had been betrayed. Spinoff or not, they come to God of War expecting Kratos, and that's not what they got. Not even close. I mean, even David Jaffe, the creator of God of War.
And that's what I was saying. The creator was even, I'm pretty sure he has some shit going on as well, so he's not all sunshine and rainbows as well. But, dude, the creator of the franchise itself calling it out is, and him not, like, I'm surprised he didn't get, like, I don't know, maybe he is, but like talking to by the company about, like, maybe you should keep that to yourself, man. Like,
came out and said that it just didn't make any sense to him. He went out of his way to make sure that he has no issue with a female lead. That's not what he's trying to say, but he argued that this is just not what people come to God of War for.
And that's a lot of these franchises. People don't come to a certain franchise and want something different. They want to come from that specific character, the specific story, the specific, like, type of game. That's how it goes. And when you change that in a meaningful way, people are not going to be happy. That's just how it goes.
Especially with the game's overall tone, saying that without the name or the connection to the universe, he believes that this game would have been forgotten the minute it was talked about.
I wouldn't say forgotten. I think the graphics and the combat might have carried it enough that where it would do pretty well. But, for a God of War game, I don't think it's going to do as well as they think it will with seriously all these backlashes that's gotten already.
There's been a lot of back and forth as to why people have been reacting so strongly. Some people seem genuinely confused, but I think a lot of people are just acting. Instead of engaging with what players are actually saying, you're seeing people attack their masculinity, accuse them of being afraid to play as a woman.
Dude, that has got to be the most brain dead take ever. There are so many good games with female leads. Tomb Raider is one of them, just off the top of the dome right there. It's like Stellar Blade. They just announced a new Stellar Blade yesterday. It looks great. Like, you can't say that. It's just the way they go about it. Like, just having, you can say that the Tomb Raider and Stellar Blade are female leads, but at the same time, it's like people will go play God of War because it's a male lead. They want to play a male lead. That's the whole reason. So you're saying that they're afraid. It's just stupid, man.
Or they're just calling them a misogynist and moving on.
Yep.
I wasn't even going to make a video about this until I had seen just how often people were dishonest.
Yeah, I was even going to make a video, but I saw him and I'm like, dude, let me hear what you have to say and give my takes on it, because it's just mind-blowing, man.
Framing and reducing criticism, acting like players just have no reason whatsoever to be upset.
Yeah, people can have their opinion. So why do you people care so much? If people don't want to play the game, then just let them be, man. Like, why are you just going to call them all these random shit that doesn't make any sense? It's just the internet, man.
Watch some version of this happen across nearly every fucking major franchise. People are attached to Kratos. He has been the face of the series for 20 years.
Exactly.
And who are we kidding here? God of War has always been a game that's been primarily made for dudes, from banging chicks for red orbs to slaughtering the Greek pantheon to raising your son by yourself and grappling with your past. This series has built its identity around Kratos and a distinctive male perspective.
And then when it changes, you are going to upset people. I don't know how it wouldn't upset people. That's crazy.
That is what people expect when they see God of War. So, spin-off or not, you hand that series, you hand that role over to his wife, you are going to upset one part of that audience, which 100%. Is probably, in this case, most of that audience. It 100%. Looks like the franchise is moving away to somebody else, and that's so obvious that even Domino's is out here calling it out.
I saw this, and I just generally laughed, bro. You have the social media manager for Domino's Pizza UK saying God of War with no Kratos equals pepperoni passion with no pepperoni. And then they comment, okay, thanks for the feedback, Domino's Pizza corporate account. This just shows you how much of the PR backlash has this created for this game. This is like so mind-blowing. You have pizza companies calling out the game. It is crazy. And then another thing that I don't like is the Santa Monica studio actually calling it out, because one thing I've learned in life, never engage with this shit, because then it compounds, it adds fuel to the fire, and gets another reason people to be mad about with you if you like responding to this backlash and like commenting, because you're basically addressing it and confirming that it's true that all this shit's happening to your game.
And look, man, I totally understand the argument that this is just a spin-off and that Kratos is confirmed to be coming back, and normally I would just shrug this off and move on, but the problem is that the players do not feel like the main thing is secure anymore. All likely to
Yep. And I mean, nothing is secure in gaming nowadays, bro. You just have so much shit changing, the market's changing, everything, people liking certain things. You have even Arc Raiders blew up and then has fallen off because the studio doesn't know what to do with what their audience wants, because you have the streamers on one hand that play the game nonstop and they want constant updates. You have the people that's, take your time, we want PvE, and when it's a PvPvE game, it's like, dude, no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. It's just unexpected.
Due to some PTSD that's been brought on by pattern recognition. Across all of entertainment, we've been watching as male leads have been sidelined, aged out, humiliated, killed off, or replaced. So even when it's just one specific game that might feel harmless, it's landing inside of a much larger pattern. One that people have been pointing out for years, only to be told that they're just imagining what's happening right in front of them. Nobody would care if this was isolated, but we've been watching.
The thing is, it's not isolated. It's happening everywhere. And then when people call it out, time and time again, people see it not as a pattern. They're trying to change it to an audience that meets whatever their goal, or whatever political motive or whatever thing they're trying to push, right? So it's like you call it out and then you get called all these things, but it's like, look how many games it is, like these games companies have done this to. Like, it's not one isolated incident. It's so many incidents around so many different games, so many franchises. It's like, it's not a pattern. It's becoming a pattern of all these franchises because people see it as it is. People are tired of it happening to their beloved franchise and they're calling out, and you're going to experience backlash if you're at one of these game studios, because doing it is basically pissing off what they come to play for. They come to play for Kratos, and they're not going to play Kratos. They're going to say something about it. That's how it is.
Series taking over for Geralt in The Witcher 4. Kate replaced Marcus in Gears. It happened with Uncharted.
See? Not one isolated incident. It's all these beloved franchises. Witcher, Last of Us. What is this game?
Malin away with Hades 2.
I'm not sure that is.
Jin in Ghost of Yotai.
Oh, that's Ghost of Yotai. So see, it's like, it's not one instance that it's happening. It's happening to all these major franchises, and then people are tired of it. They come for a specific character. They don't get to play that character. They're mad. That's how it goes.
We regularly see male-led games move towards female protagonists, but we never see that door swing in the opposite direction. And I am saying this as somebody that likes most of these characters. And yes, some of the changes that we see,
I would say all those characters are fine. It's just the fact that they're doing it, and it's happening time and time again, and people are calling it out now. And then when people call it out, and then they find some other reason to hate them. Oh, you're hating because it's a female lead. You're hating it because you're a misogynist. It's all these other things under the sun, other than the fact that I come for that. I bought the game in the franchise, and I got into it because of a certain character. I came to play because it was a certain character. I came because of a certain tone. And then the tone changed, the character changed. Then what am I playing it for? I'm going to call it out.
Narrative sense. I defended The Witcher 4, and I went out of my way to even defend Ghost of Yotai because Jin's story was finished. This is not me saying that every single franchise must be led by the same man forever. Or even
I'm not saying that either, but just look how many times the industry nowadays is so fucked up, and so many people are pushing agendas. So many games are dying, like Concord. Marathon is now in that decline. You have High Guard that died instantly. It's all these agendas, all these games that are failing because of all these different reasons. And they're seeing these reasons happen in God of War, and they're calling it out because they are afraid that their franchise is going to be one of those that just ends up being faded away because of they're doing all these dumbass changes that they don't like. It's fair to call them out on it.
Only by men in some cases. But when you're seeing the same shift happen again and again,
exactly,
it becomes difficult not to notice. More of the gaming space is.
I don't know how you can't notice it. It is so obvious in some of these companies that it's like, you experience one game doing it, and then they do it to another game, and then their parent company or the people they work with, or just a whole other franchise adopts their style, and it's like, guys, what are we doing? Like, you see that game flop, this game isn't doing well, it's gonna die. Then why are we copying them? Why don't we stick with what works? It doesn't make any sense.
Becoming feminine coded, and the audience that has historically supported these franchises is now being told.
And my other thing is, it's a male-dominated industry in terms of the people that play video games. Majority of the time, it's usually a male hobby. So why are you trying to cater towards an audience in a game that's already so hard set, male-dominated in God of War? This seems like a bad PR thing to do with everything going on in the game industry as is, and with what people want. It just makes no sense with the today's culture. It makes zero sense.
Noticing that is just them being insecure or hateful. And that's where the backlash is coming from. You know, people really love to throw around some broad numbers claiming that women make up nearly half of gamers today, but
that cannot be true.
Those numbers.
And even if it is true, women play different games than men. It's just a fact that people won't play. Males are not going to play Animal Crossing as much as a female will. That's just, people are going to play God of War that are going to be more male than female. That's just how it is, man. Like, so you can say however percentage you want, but just based on whatever franchise you're playing, it's going to be more coded to a specific gender. That's just how it is.
Almost always include every single platform, every single mobile game, every single genre, and it's all under one massive umbrella. The minute that you start breaking that audience down by publisher, genre, and individual franchise, that picture is going to change immediately.
100%.
Reported that their audience is overwhelmingly male, and more
I would assume
here,
so.
A Nexus Mod survey from 2015 of around 25,000 respondents found that men made up 88% of the audience for God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
Gaming as a whole might have a broad audience, but God of War does not have a broad, evenly divided audience. It has a very specific one. And when you see people that are saying that a game like this feels like it's being aimed at somebody else, they are not just basing that off of Faye being the protagonist. They're talking about everything else that's surrounding her. I think that a lot of people like to conveniently ignore how significantly changing a lead in a game affects the broader tone, narrative, dialogue.
Exactly.
These games are just
and
not
that's my problem. It's the writing. Like I said, the writing just seems not coded towards a male audience whatsoever. It just seems like it's more catered towards a female audience now that it's a female lead. And then you have all these side characters that seem like Marvel side characters that are just there for comic relief. So it's all there catered toward an audience that God of War wasn't created for in the first place. So you're going to have unsettled and undivided divided community now because you're changing so much for just one spin-off game. If that's the case, if it's just one spin-off, I feel like there's such an unnecessary risk you're taking by doing that.
They're entirely different. And maybe that's where a lot of this frustration is actually coming from. It's not as simple as God of War with a female lead. It's the second that these studios make a change, everything else seems to change with it.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen because a woman can't lead in a brutal or serious game, or that
that's not true. That's whatsoever.
Male audiences. We already know that they can. Lara Croft, Bayonetta, Nier Automata, Stellar Blade,
exactly.
plenty of Final Fantasy games have made it work, and a lot of people are really looking
like
forward to Tides of Annihilation. The difference is that those characters were written to belong as the lead in their worlds.
Exactly. They're written in that way to be the main character. I don't know the whole lore, so don't come after me because I don't know the whole lore. But I don't think was written in a way that she was the lead at any point. If I am not mistaken, it was always Kratos. So it's like you're gonna have, like I said, backlash because people want to play and come for that reason. So people writing and saying like why she isn't the lead or why she's the lead, it's like it makes no sense. The other games are written because in that way to make it so that they are the lead. You know what I mean? That's why the female is the lead. The man isn't the lead in that game because the woman is written in a way so she is going to be the lead. She's dominant, she's powerful, whatever it might be. So it's like then you're changing your story of 20 years to something that doesn't make any sense in the terms of the lore or whatnot.
The entire identity of the game doesn't need to bend around another character taking over. But when these modern studios inherit these male-led franchises, they seem completely incapable of doing that. Instead of placing a woman into a natural role, naturally existing there, they have to rebuild the tone around them in the safest, most corporate version of a female.
That's the sad part about it. They have to do it in a careful way, and then that careful way gets backlash, and then they end up changing it, and then it becomes worse, and then it just blows up on their face, and then there goes the game.
Protagonists that they can possibly imagine. And I think that's what people see when they immediately look at Laufey.
Yep.
They're not just reacting to Faye as a character or Faye 100%. Kratos. They are reacting to everything that comes with her. The quips, the talking.
Dude, everything that he's saying is 100% true. Everything is going to change. The tone, the quips with the characters. Now you have the stupid cube and the sword. Then you're going to have their interactions. Then you're going to have, oh, I'm down in a fight. Let me have the cube save me, like a comic book from Marvel, dude. Like, it's just, everything is going to change now that she's the lead. It's not that she is the lead now, and people are mad about that, but it's like everything is just going to change entirely with how it's being written. Like, you can just clearly see it from the 20 minutes we already saw.
Cube, the talking sword, and the version of God of War that suddenly sounds and looks like a dozen other games that everybody has already ignored.
Exactly. They see the pattern happen again with all these games that have flopped. They see the same color palette, the same tonality, the same changes of, oh, we're going to go from male to female lead, and oh, we're going to change it so the writing style is, fits this new character. And then it's like, oh, the game failed. And they see it happening with God of War, and they're like, please don't do this. We don't want to see God of War fail. We want to see a good God of War game. And it's like, oh, you're calling out because she's a female. Oh, you're hating it. It's like because it's written by a female. It's like, guys, holy, you're not seeing the main picture. It's happening everywhere in the game industry. It's not just God of War. It's everything. And that's why people are calling it out.
Nobody is saying that women can't lead in games. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. I think that they should have their own games. It's probably not coming off the way that it probably should.
Yeah, probably me too.
If these publishers and studios are so confident in what they're doing and the changes that they're making and the characters that they're putting in, my question is, why is it so often that these characters have to inherit the names, the audiences, and the cultural weight?
100% right. If your story, your whole whatever it might be is so good, go make a game and call it Laufey. Do not include God of War title. Don't use anything like backing it. Don't use the God of War name. Don't use Kratos, whatever. Go make your own game and see how well it does. I guarantee it won't do well, just as well as, slapping God of War on the title and, taking over our already dominated male lead with Kratos. It will do 100% worse. That's just probably a known fact just because. It's just how it is. The franchise helps so much. The past history of how the games have been built, everything contributes to how well a game does. And, you're taking advantage of the fact that God of War is so popular, so loved, and then you're doing this and you're wondering why people are calling it out is because they don't want to see that change. So if you're so confident, go do it with a game that doesn't have anything to do with anything of God of War or anything like that. And we'll see how popular a game will become. I guarantee it won't be well.
Around men. Why don't we instead call out the blatant misogyny of the games industry and of creative industries as a whole, that they believe that women can't stand on their own and the only way that they can is if they stand on the shoulders of men to find success? Call me a misogynist? Try looking in the mirror.
True.
Now, I want to be painfully clear. I don't have any problem at all with Faye being a protagonist in God of War.
I think they did a disservice to her, making her look worse than her actor in the model stand. She looks significantly worse than she played in Daredevil. She played Karen Page in Daredevil, and that's one of my favorite Marvel TV shows. And she looks 100% better in real life than she does in the game. I don't understand how they can't change the hairstyle, make her look different, make her look improved. It's afterlife. She's dead after all. Make her change her up. I'm not saying give her freaking triple D's, freaking BBL, whatnot. Just make her look like a more appealing character to play. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's not my issue. My issue is the cube, the writing, the sword. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel like a God of War game. It's like everything else. The graphics look great. The combat looks fun. But it's like, then you have everything else that's happening and people are recognizing all the patterns with all these previous games that have been shit. And they're calling it out because they don't want God of War to fall into that same category of just, transitioning the leads, changing the writing style, whatever it might be. So that's why they're afraid of what's happening.
Hell, even in a mainline series, I might even like it. I have no idea. I just know that immediately looking at it, it didn't initially.
Yeah, people are just very scared of what it could lead to if everything is true with the games industry nowadays, and what they're seeing within the market and what's happening to all these big franchises of it changing into these so-called cultural standards or whatever it might be that they're doing it for, whatever motivation. That's why they're afraid. They're not afraid that it's a female lead or whatnot. It's just all the things that are compounded over the last couple of years in all of the social media and whatever and all that stuff. It gets tiring at a point where people just are not happy with things in the world, and then they take it out on everyone else, and then it just leads to this people just not getting the point whatsoever.
For me, the thing that I take a issue with is the broader trend of this industry taking existing games, repurposing them, and chasing different audiences, abandoning the original ones.
Makes no sense.
That's exactly what they're doing.
I don't understand why you would do that.
I don't know what to tell you. These guys are so very obviously targeting women with this game. I mean, you 100%. Can see it immediately in just the broader tones at the very beginning.
Yep, the writing, like I said, and the characters.
It's the animals, it's the quippy dialogue, it's the humor, it's the fairy tale-like companions that are accompanying her. These guys are very obviously targeting women. They do want...
And the people that are defending all this shit it's like, guys, you're not seeing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is all these things are coded for an audience that wasn't made for God of War. That's the whole point. It's not that the freaking character is a female, guys. So like, wake up, smell the roses. Look at all the shit that's happening around her becoming the character. It's everything else, not just that it's a female. It's like, come on, man. Like, if you can't see that, man, you are so dedicated in your own world that you have not seen anything else in the game industry. Because the game industry, there's so many games that have done this and they just flopped. And that's why people, like I said, are not happy. They're afraid. They feel like their game is being changed for the worse. That's how it looks.
To change the audience, and they're going in a different direction. Whether or not that bleeds over to the greater franchise, and this is just a gamble, we'll wait to find out. But keep in mind, one of the things this is what's bothering people. That's where the divide is coming from.
100%.
Men and women fundamentally just have different interests. And while those
exactly. So why are we trying to change God of War into something that it isn't? It makes no sense. Even if it is from a different perspective, don't do it now. The whole world is up in flames. Let's be honest. The whole world is in a crisis of what people like and dislike. And with everything going on in the games industry, people are at literally the peak of divided. They don't know what they want in life. They don't know what they want in games. And when you're doing this and people see all the patterns happening, then you're dividing the male audience that's there for God of War and trying to transition it into a female audience now that, you know, there wasn't that much to begin with in the first place. So it's like you're doing it in a time where it doesn't make any logical sense, financial like sense at all either. So it's like it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Sometimes may intersect. In most cases, that's coincidentally.
Yeah, exactly.
So
very rare that it's made for a male and female audience that it's like basically equal. That's very. I don't even know what game you could even consider that to be the case.
You're seeing a lot of people that are getting upset because they're looking at something that was historically for them and now it's not anymore.
Exactly.
So
it was made for them and now they don't know what to think.
Especially when it takes so long for these games to come out. When they come out, oh yeah, well, God of War.
This game. When was the last one? 2018. So what is it, 8 years? And then they get this game where they don't even play Kratos? Or I don't know if it's whatever the latest release of God of War was. I think it was 2018. So it's like they waited this long for a new game from the studio. And guess what? The whole thing has changed. Nothing is the same. They come back for the Kratos and Kratos is no longer there. Sure, he will be probably in the game, but it's like you're not playing as Kratos. So like they waited all this time and they're waited and then they're going to probably put all this money into it. And now is completely different. It's a completely different market.
There's going to be another one with Kratos. Okay, well, it's taking you guys, I think it's like 7 years at this point that these guys have been working on this one. Okay,
exactly.
Wait another 7 years for the next one.
Yeah. People are not happy about that.
That's a whole other problem, the games industry on its own. But
100%.
This brings us to a crossroads. Been listening to Bone Thugs lately. Audience expansion at all costs. Ignoring any and all risks in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of games that are just completely terrified of having a target audience. And
yeah, I think it's fun to have a target audience. Like if you are a masculine game and you are dedicating, like you're making it so it fits like the, you know, whatever aspect or culturalism or whatever of a male, you know, like whatever, then, you know, that's what you're going to go for. I don't know why you're going to change that after so many years or whatever you do. It doesn't make any sense why you would try to broaden your audience for something that already works. Like I said in the beginning, if it's broke, then fix it. If it's not broken, then don't fix it. Just keep giving them what they want, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
They're also leaving a lot of their audiences behind by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Every single year, we watch as more and more games come out and they just fail. They fall flat on their face.
Exactly.
And a lot of this is just the result of these guys chasing a larger audience. They have gotten greedy.
Yeah, you already have an audience, so why are you trying to broaden it and risk losing everything? It doesn't make any sense.
For people. And the more that they do it, the more people they leave behind.
Yeah, they alienate more and more people every single time they change it.
People that are going to show up at all. Something that I think probably gets lost in all the noise of the videos that I make throughout the year is that I love games. Like, I really love games.
Same. I love games, man. I wish I could be doing this freaking full time. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I love games. But it's like, at the end of the day, people will, you know, like what they like and don't like what they don't like. That's just how it is, man.
I also love business, sales, and marketing.
Yep, they like the money. They like the money.
And I just can't get this stuff out of my head. And I just cannot stand to watch people fail because of
it hurts my heart. Like, I feel like if I was in that studio and I saw this shit happening, like, I just want to, like, if you actually work in the game industry, I would feel like if I seen something so absurd like this, I'd be like the first one to call it out. I'd be like, guys, do we really think this is a good idea? Like, with all these games nowadays, like Ubisoft, you know, one of my favorite franchises is Division, and all the changes they've did. Battlefield, I don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, there's so many game studios. I feel like if I was in their position to, you know, help steer in the right direction, I feel like I could do a better job than some of these people, because it hurts my heart that some of these franchises that people love so much are not getting respect and like getting all the treatment they should be getting for all the, you know, dedicated fans that are out there and purchasing their game year after year. Like, God, I don't know how you can let your franchises, when you get year after year copies and you just fuck them over at every single turn. It makes no sense.
Obvious mistakes. That is why I talk about these topics as bluntly as I do. It's why I want games.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it now.
That does not necessarily mean that I think that everything I say is right, or that every prediction.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm right in any way. I'm just saying I'm just giving my take and how I feel like majority of the people will like have this certain take. Is people are just tired of what they're seeing. No one's calling it out. No one's saying anything, and they're letting the shit constantly happen. And then eventually we'll have no games to play because we have all these different, you know, morals, expectations, to greed, you know, not listening to the players. And then what we'll have one day is just the same generic slop over and over again. We'll have COD number 97, like the Burnt Peanut said, you know, just like, let the developers cook. But the developers, you need to realize, man, when you see shit happening to your game that doesn't make any sense for why the players would enjoy that you got to speak up, man. There are so many games that just don't make any sense of why you'd make this change.
Going to come true. But one thing I don't think anybody can afford to ignore anymore is how many of these games are failing year after year.
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
They're being made for an audience that is so broad, so diverse, and so poorly defined that they're never actually going to find one.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to be proven.
Making a game for everyone is going to include no one. You cannot make a game for everyone. That is just hard facts. The only game that can maybe be for everyone is like the freaking metaverse. If you had every game in one, like it's so hard to make a game for everyone. It makes no sense why you would try to target everyone, because you're going to end up with no one playing your game. You're not going to find a community. You're not going to find people that are dedicated enough to play your game. So find like a vision, see what it aligns with, and then go hard. And if you find traction with that, go. If you don't find traction, then change it up, switch it up, and then go. It's like, it makes no sense when you're trying to make a game for everyone, because you're going to find no one. That's business. That's life in general, man.
Wrong, but while God of War Laufey probably won't fail, it will undeniably sell fewer copies than God of War Ragnarok.
100%. I think it's still going to do well. I think it's probably going to sell like 5 million to 10 million copies. But compared to the other games, I feel like it's going to do significantly worse by a decent margin compared to if it was with a Kratos lead, I feel like.
Because the target audience has changed. Now, the audience is people who already played God of War, plus women tagged onto the side, plus some vague modern audience that nobody can clearly define. And while I have seen plenty of people try to argue the moral good of this because it's making the franchise more inclusive, I do not care to argue the morality of it.
Yeah, arguing with that is it just doesn't make any sense, man.
I am only interested in the business decision, and I am only aware of it because I was the target audience. The moment that you try to bolt on a secondary audience onto a product or unnaturally try to broaden its appeal, the entire thing is just going to get thrown into chaos. The tone change.
Yeah, that's what people are calling out. And then people are mad because it's like, oh, it's because it's a female lead. It's like, no, man, everything else is changing. If you don't see the landscape of video games as a whole, and you're just looking at God of War as just God of War, then you don't see what most people are talking about. People are seeing the patterns. They're seeing what's happening with the world. They're seeing all the, tonality changes, and, we had to change this because we are not reaching a demographic or a minority. It's like, dude, stop doing that, man. Just make the game for what you originally made it for. It makes no sense why you would change it.
The marketing changes, the writing changes, the original audience becomes a lot less certain that game is still for them, like I am with Laufey, while the new audience that these guys are chasing might not even care what these guys are doing.
You're changing the audience for people who probably won't care enough to play it. People also defending this probably won't play it because they don't like the style of combat or game God of War is. So it's like you're basically in double jeopardy, risking whatever the hell you're making the audience for in the first place. It makes no sense.
We have watched these kind of shifts damage franchises and collapse studios across the entire industry. We may never see another Dragon Age after Veilguard, Saints Row.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You see Dragon Veil, whatever the hell it was called, Veilguard, and it's like you see that happen. You see the other games happen around it, and it's like looks like it's what's happening in God of War, and people are afraid that's gonna what's gonna happen.
Went from gangsters to quirky nerds and may never return. And I am fully convinced that Fable is gonna suffer the exact same
thing. Fable looks very rough, even though it looks good. I feel like it might be going in that way. Same like God of War.
These are games that started with defined audiences, which then defined their writing, mechanics, and gameplay. Then somebody came in and decided that definition was a limitation. So then they changed the tone. They widened their pitch. They contorted these games into something that alienated the people that were already invested without giving anybody else a strong reason to show up. They didn't make a larger audience. They just removed the reason for the audience to exist.
He's spitting right now. He's spitting. This is 100% facts.
All of this is being driven by profitability, or rather,
all about the money, guys. All about the money. And then you're going to realize you're going to have no money because no one's going to buy your game.
Profitability conveniently converging with self-destructive empathy. I think a lot of people have kind of concluded that these games, basically all across the entire industry, are being driven by personal politics or some kind of...
And that's what people are seeing. They're seeing all these games being driven by some factor. And it just so happens to be that all the games that fail include some of these factors that people are seeing in God of War now. So they see the same tendencies, the same, oh, we're not doing this because of some reason. But then you realize when the game fails, oh, it was actually because of that reason. So it's like people are calling it out before it actually gets to a point where it's unrecognizable. And, they still have time because it's still being developed. They still have time to change stuff. So it's like that's why people are so divided right now.
Coordinated social agenda. And while I think that can be true at times, I don't think it's as nearly as organized or intentional as people make it out to be.
Yeah, that is
Guys,
true.
I think the vast majority of game developers are just these creative, beautiful souls who genuinely want nothing more than for everybody to feel welcome playing their games. And they just want their work to reach as many people as possible. And
that's what I would want.
To perfectly align with what executives want, just in the wrong way. Because these executives do want these games to appeal to everybody, but for a much simpler reason. They want this audience.
And that's why I hate some executives at some companies. It's like, dude, you're trying to make a game for everyone. We're going to make a game for no one. You're trying to make money, and that money is not going to make money because you're investing into something that's not going to happen. It makes no sense. So that's why I wish I was at some of these studios, because I'd be like, listen to me, I'll turn your franchise around tenfold. I feel like I could, I feel like most people of a franchise that have been dedicated and been there for a long time know what the people want. If you're being like unbiased, like, you understand all sides of the game, I feel like the players could do a better job than some of these executives in some cases, because some of the way that they are, EA, Ubisoft is just like taking their game is just like makes no sense.
Growing. But I think what we're looking at is the symptom of a maturing market. I think that the games industry is largely done growing, or at the very least, that
I would say, yeah, it's very close.
Dramatically. There are just only so many people in the world, only so much free time, only so much disposable income, and you're only going to be able to make this hobby accessible so much before you're going to reach a point of saturation.
Yeah,
and I think that gaming
and there's a lot of saturation right now.
Saturated. Not the same time.
Look how many games have been showcased nowadays. It's like, oh, it's the 13th pirate game, the 13th cooking game, the 13th Souls-like, the 13th whatever it might be. And it's like, at some point, you got to be so unique to stand out. You got to do so much different things to stand out in the market. And then when you do stand out, you got to make sure you can capitalize on it. And, God of War was already established, that they already had a foothold, and now they're crumbling. The people are seeing the cracks within the surface of what's happening at their studio. And once it falls, it's very hard to rebuild nowadays. People don't want to trust you. People don't think you're loyal to the fans and the community. Don't think you're trustworthy enough. And then guess what? Every game you make after that is going to probably fail. Look at Bungie right now. They're not listening to their fans, and Marathon is bombing. They're in dire need of trying to save one franchise when you have a whole other franchise that they're just abandoning in the first place. So it's like, when you do so much shit, the players just have enough, and there's so many games in the saturation that they're going to go find another game that they like. That's what's going to happen. That's literally the facts that's going on right now in the world.
games that are taking longer to make, costing more to produce, and the hobby itself becoming more expensive to enter, things that really should not be happening at the exact same time. More people are being forced out of the hobby financially, while these companies are also expecting to still grow year after year. So now we have these executives that are just scrambling, trying to deny the reality that's right in front of them. They don't want to shrink their companies. They don't want to lower their projections. They don't want to tell their shareholders that the market has finally reached its limit. So instead, these guys are trying to broaden their audience. They're trying to reshape
and that's not going to do any good.
Existing studios to fit more people, assuming that the original audience is still going to remain loyal no matter what these guys do.
They usually don't.
And then they go and they chase this audience that may never actually be interested in their games at all. The place we've seen this happen the most clearly has been with live service games, To Kill the Justice League, Concord, High Guard, Marathon, and probably a dozen other games that nobody has even heard of. And I know that some people are going to say, wait, well, some of those games are completely new. They didn't change their audience within an existing franchise. Well, sometimes that shift is not happening inside of a game. It's actually happening at a studio level.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Once it happens at a studio level, it's very hard to trust that studio. And then everything after that, like I said, it tends to fail. And look what Bungie is losing with Destiny. So they pivot to Marathon, and people don't like Marathon already. And then guess what? The Destiny community is now mad at Marathon, and then they're doing at it, and it's the same studio that's making both of their games. So it makes no sense.
3 months, the live service MOBA Spellcaster Chronicles is already shutting down. And I don't think most people even knew this game existed. Actually, I'm positive they didn't because, well, games journalists didn't even review it, and the game
that's bad. When IGN doesn't give it a review, I'm surprised it's not a 10 out of 10. But either way, if they don't review it, that can't be good.
Peaked at around 888
Ooh, that's a Concord.
It just was canceled immediately. This game was made by Quantic Dream, the same studio that did Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human.
Oh, wow. I've heard of Detroit Become Human. That is crazy that they made this and it just insta-bombed. Jesus, I didn't even hear about it.
Two of the most popular and recognizable choice-driven narrative RPGs or narrative games
Detroit Become Human is really good.
Heavy Rain was
I've heard really good things about it.
Commercial success on PlayStation 3. Detroit Become Human is still selling today. It just recently passed 15 million copies. This studio doesn't make MOBAs. They don't make multiplayer games. Quantic Dream built their entire reputation around cinematic, narrative-driven experiences. Then it pivoted into basically the exact opposite direction of the
I don't understand pivoting a franchise or a studio away from, like, if it's a single player, why are we trying to go like to a massive multiplayer online like game? Like, just stick with single player. It's working. It's selling. It makes no sense why you would change that.
These guys already have, and that audience did not follow them. Quantic Dream is obviously known. They already had millions of players that cared about their work, but none of that matters when you go and you make something that those people never asked for in a market that nobody is waiting for you. That's exactly what happened there. But I think the best example of all of this, or probably the worst example in this case, is Sony. Sony is probably the one publisher that has been the most heavily invested in the live service portion.
Oh, dude, I think I saw something that had like 12 or something live service games in development, dude. Like, what are you guys doing, man? Like, what?
At one point, these guys had 12 live service games.
I called it, bro. Dude, like I said, dude, why? It makes no sense.
That were planned, and while we have no idea what that list looks like now, we do know what followed. Failure after failure. Sony.
Yeah, they're not looking very good right now, I tell you that much.
Never even finding a single major hit with all that they were chasing. And the entire time that these guys were doing this, they neglected the audience that built PlayStation. Sony became so obsessed with reaching new players and chasing whatever part of the market that they thought looked the most profitable that they lost sight of why people bought their consoles at all. And
exclusive, same with Xbox. Why Xbox people are mad that their games are no longer exclusive, which I think is still a W in my opinion. I think no game should be just an exclusive. I think that's so stupid. At least if it's going to be Xbox, it should be Xbox PC. If it's going to be PlayStation, it should be PlayStation PC. So at least, you know, if you're going to, you at least have to buy both consoles to play it. Or if you have a PC, you can enjoy it for both. Because usually a PC, it's going to run better, it's going to perform better, and it's made for more things, right? But it's like, I just... I mean, it pisses me off, man.
That thinking didn't stop at a business level. It spread to the studios themselves until these companies seemingly could not recognize the audiences that were sitting directly in front of them. That is exactly how you see a company that is abandoning the Destiny brand to go all in on Marathon.
Yeah, don't understand that.
Free for this last weekend and was only able to peak at around 40,000 players.
Damn.
Sony spent years denying the reality of their own audience, and the results ended up showing up in their own sales numbers. In 2019, they had reached their peak of 58 million units sold. By 2024, that number had fallen to more than half.
Ouch.
28 million, before recovering slightly to 32 million in 2025. And what changed? Sony started giving their audience what they actually expected from PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Astrobot's not type of my game, but I mean, it won. Didn't it win Game of the Year?
Astrobot, Ghost of Yotai, Death Stranding 2, high quality single player games with clear identities and an obvious audience. It was only when Sony finally returned back to the players that it had spent years overlooking that their numbers finally started moving back in the right direction. And I think that's...
Who would have thought actually making the game for the players that are already within your, your console or your umbrella would actually make you more money? Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
That is everything. Sony did not need to discover some new massive audience hidden somewhere.
Yeah, you already have the audience. Just make the game.
They already had one. They already had their own. The problem was that it became so consumed with finding the next audience that they stopped serving the people who were already there. These guys are so absolutely terrified of just admitting that while the games industry is bigger than it's ever been before, it's likely not going to get much bigger than what it already is. Because
until the world triples in size, you're going to have the same, it's still going to be saturated. It's still going to be the same type of people playing your games. It's like, just make the games that people want to play, man. People will buy your shit. People buy so many games, man. Even though if they don't have that much money, they'll still find a way to play it. You know what I mean? So it's like, just make the games that people want to play. Stop changing the games that already have set standards and characters and whatever in franchises that you've already built. Just keep making them. And until it stops working, don't stop. It doesn't make any sense why you would change it.
It is massive. And instead of trying to squeeze water from a stone, these guys need to instead just draw water from the well that they already
Great
built.
Analogy right there.
I mean, this is probably the most important part, but serving the audiences that you already have, consistently serving the audiences that you already have is how you reach secondary audiences.
Exactly.
No matter what, just because it's just the way that markets work, secondary audiences are always going to find your products. But in most cases, they find your products through the audience that's already there. So if those guys are happy,
exactly. That's why I think a lot of these, even let's look at Star Wars, for example. Their trilogy that they had with the Skywalker saga bombed, and then they pivoted to Mandalorian. That did well. Then they did all these animated shows. They did really well. Then they tried to do The Acolyte. That failed because it tried to do something that wasn't made for their audience and didn't fit anywhere with the Star Wars lore. It messed up the lore with that. And then they're trying to pivot. And then The Mandalorian and Grogu didn't do well. So it's like, why are you trying to change things? Even all the markets and mediums of the world right now, so many people are just trying to change shit that shouldn't be changed. Just follow. You have so much lore, so much history with these games, movies, TV shows, mediums. It's like, dude, just follow it. That's why you have so many fandoms built around Star Wars, Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty. You already have the community. Just make the games that they want to play, man. Like, you're doing too much, and you're gonna get back nothing in return because you're making it for people that don't exist. They're not there to play your game. So people calling out God of War saying, oh, it's because it's a female lead. No, people are seeing that they're making it for an audience that doesn't exist. It's mainly made for males. Then the male's gone or is going to be reduced to, a back roll on the back burner. And the writing's freaking, in my opinion, not very great. The cube is stupid, in my opinion, because it's, it's tonality change of, oh, I'm a female now, so I must have all these characters. And it also looks like a Marvel, side character companion. Oh, I'm going to insert this funny quip here. I'm a sword now that talks. I'm actually not the sword. I'm the ribbons. It's like, stop doing this, man. Just make it for the people that want to play your game.
They're likely to hear about it more often, and they're also they're also more likely to hear about it positively rather than negatively.
Exactly. When people see so much negative criticism about a game, they are immediately put off, no matter what medium or social media platform or anything. They're immediately put off by what they see online. And once they see so much backlash, it inhibits everyone else from trying your game because they already see the backlash. If your game doesn't run well, people are not going to play it. If it doesn't look good, not going to play well. People are not going to flock to a game because they see one post online and it's like a cool clip. They're going to see people playing the game when the numbers are high. Everyone's talking about it. When they're seeing so much backlash, they're not going to give it a chance because they already feel like it's already on the decline.
companies have become.
That's what when they're trying to revive Marathon, but there's art controversy of them stealing art. It doesn't perform well. You know, you had all this shit happening, and it's like you're trying to, you know, it's already on fire, and you're trying to put it out, but it's creating more fire.
So self-obsessed over the idea of radically changing their entire franchises to be able to reach wider audiences, to reach more people. And the thing is that doing the best you possibly can for the audience that you already have is how every single company has reached its peak.
Yep.
Every
Facts.
single time.
Facts.
But it only ever becomes their peak because they abandon that audience once they reach that level.
Dude, this guy's
it's this never-ending cycle where
so
these
right.
guys just get way too greedy once they're up at the top, and
they think they can never fail, and then when it happens, nosedive, plane crash, destruction, never coming back from. That's usually what happens. Or they hit rock bottom and they stay at rock bottom. They can never recover.
So much success that the only path that they can see forward is with a new audience,
exactly.
not the one that they already have. And it destroys these guys. So what they end up doing is they just basically come up with the idea of just fundamentally changing these games, and it just doesn't work with the audience. I mean, try to keep in mind that the target demographic, or maybe a better way for me to be able to say this is the most profitable demographic inside of the games industry historically has always been men from ages 18 to 34.
Facts. 100%.
It's always been that way.
That's probably never going to change for the most part.
The most money on video games, at least on like the broader trend of genres.
It's generally considered a male hobby. If you look in like people that don't associate with games, or females that are like, oh, why do you not like this guy? It's like, oh, he plays video games for a living, or he plays games. I don't like that. It's like, so it's like you can already see just people who don't fuck with games are already like not going to be playing the game. So you already have females that are already not going to be so much enticed to play these games, and you're trying to make it appeal to them or make games for them when the market is so heavily male dominated. So it's like, that's why people are mad with God of War. That's what is happening in the games industry when you're already taking so many of these franchises and turning them in the most weirdest directions for no apparent reason other than the fact that you're trying to appeal to an audience that isn't there.
And everything like that. And there are certain themes and fantasies that always speak to that demographic. It's guns and cars and powers and swords and monsters and attractive women and competition and attractive women. And because we know what those games look like.
Yep.
Because we know what those tastes are. Because it's
we play them before.
Predefined and it's so reliable. It's really what it is. It's so reliable. Anytime something changes in that, it is so noticeable. That audience can see it immediately. Other audiences can see it immediately.
And the fact is, we see it, but when it gets published online, it gets blown out of proportion, and then you have the people who don't even deal with the game see it, and then they're like, oh, he must be misogynistic. He must be hating on it as a female. It's like, then it becomes a whole nother debate that has nothing to do with the game itself and why people are criticizing in the first place. So he's 100% right.
Out immediately, and it just doesn't feel like it belongs. That doesn't mean that's the only audience that you have to make things for. You can make things for other audiences, but if you're going to change things within that core demographic, that's where you're going to find a lot of heat. That's where you're going to find a lot of
And they found heat, all right.
We're going to find a lot of these people that are getting upset. And it's why people are getting upset. Just
100%.
keep in mind. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, let me know
I
what you
enjoyed
thought
it.
of the video.
100% right about pretty much everything.
The video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, share
Go
it
check
across
them
social
out.
media, share it with everybody. Make sure everybody in the world watches it. It's the most important.
Help clear the air with all this bullshit going on.
Every video is the most important video. I am actually really interested to think or see what people think.
Yeah, me too. Leave your comments down below what you think about all this stuff surrounding God of War.
This, because there was a lot of people that really were disagreeing with me online, at least on Twitter. I know.
I mean, there's only a few minor points that I would talk about, but I mean, I predict for the most part, like 99.9, he's 100% right.
Completely different universe to the rest of the world, but still, it was kind of, I don't know, some cognitive dissonance there where I'm like, am I just actually wrong about this? Wait a minute, am I being gaslit? Am I gaslighting myself? I have no idea. Let me know what you think.
Yep, we'll do.
I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm going to Summer Games Fest. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe.
Peace. Dude, go check out this video. It's so great. Covered everything I wanted to talk about. Like I said, guys, do the research. Stop trying to engage with these people who don't have any idea what the fuck is going on in the game industry. People see the pattern of what's happening to all these games around them, and now they're afraid it's going to happen to God of War. They see the patterns occurring, they're seeing the tonality change, and that's why they're afraid. So stop calling it out for, oh, it's a female lead, that's why they're hating on it. No, guys will play female leads. Look at all the games that were shown at Summer Games Fest. PlayStation are probably going to be shown at Xbox. They probably will have female leads, and people are going to play the fuck out of them. And honestly, they're probably going to be mostly males because that's what some of the guys like. That's exactly, you could call them gooners or whatever the fuck you want to call them, but they're going to play the game because of whatever it might be. So please do your research. Don't listen to some of these morons on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of morons, but at the end of the day, God of War will probably still sell. It probably won't do great as other ones. We'll have to see what they change, if anything. And yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on everything down below. I love to hear what you guys say, and I'll catch you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.